Now at 9, Hamas returned the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages. See what Israel's prime minister had to say.
Plus, Trump is doubling down on his criticism on Zelensky. How tensions are growing between the U.S. and Ukraine.
Then, a longtime senator will not be running again in 2026. A look at how his announcement for retirement.
And go behind the scenes of what Ball State UPD does. Take a closer look into their day-to-day operations.
Weekend weather warm-up. NewsLink Indiana starts now.
Local news about local people, live from Ball State Unified Media. You're watching NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening, and thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Ava Lenz.
And I'm Peyton Mucker. A somber day in Tel Aviv's Hostage Square as Israelis gather to make a painful homecoming. Hamas handed over the bodies of 4 deceased hostages who were kidnapped on October 7th.
The 2 youngest hostages, the baby Babai's brothers and their mother Cherie among them, and the family of one of the oldest hostages, Oded Shafiz, has confirmed his remains were returned today as well. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the country is united in unbearable grief.
Every home in Israel bows its head today. We bow our heads for the heavy loss of our 4 hostages. We all ache with pain that is mixed with rage. We are all furious at the monsters of Hamas. The 4 coffins of our loved ones oblige us more than ever to promise, to swear, that what happened on October 7th will never happen again. The voice of the blood of our loved ones cries out to us from the ground. It obliges us to take revenge on the vile murderers, and we will take revenge on them.
Netanyahu ended his message with, quote, "We will return all our hostages. We will destroy the murderers. We will eliminate Hamas."
President Donald Trump has escalated his criticism of Vladimir Zelensky, falsely accusing him, quote, dictator, as the Ukrainian leader accused Trump of being, quote, disinformation space. The heightened tensions come as U.S. envoy Keith Kellogg met with Zelensky today in Ukraine. CNN Washington's correspondent Julia Benbrook has details.
Trump is doubling down on his criticism of Zelensky, calling the wartime leader a, quote, dictator. Trump has been accused of repeating Russian talking points and has made several false claims, including suggesting that Ukraine started the conflict as we near the 3-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Zelensky has said that Trump is spreading disinformation. In explaining the U.S. president's striking comments in recent days, White House officials have said that he is focused on ending the conflict, one that he believes was mismanaged by the previous administration. In the first few weeks of his presidency, Trump spoke on the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin, marking a big shift in communication between the United States and Russia. Trump's predecessor, Joe Biden, hadn't spoken to his Russian counterpart in nearly 3 years, believing there was little to be gained in speaking to a leader he deemed a war criminal.
Well, how are you going to end the war unless you're talking to Russia? You've got to talk to everybody involved in the fighting if you actually want to bring the conflict to a close, and I know the president does.
Earlier this week, U.S. leaders met with Russian leaders in Saudi Arabia to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. But no one from Ukraine was in the room during the negotiations. On Thursday, Trump's Russia-Ukraine envoy Keith Kellogg met with Zelensky. Prior to that meeting, Kellogg said that he understands the need for security guarantees in Ukraine. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Trump said yesterday that Ukraine started the conflict when, in fact, the war began when Russian forces invaded Ukraine 3 years ago.
Longtime Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky will not run for re-election in 2026. The former GOP leader has been a major public figure in Washington, D.C. for decades. McConnell announced his retirement today, which is also his 83rd birthday.
7 times, my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they placed in me to do their business right here. Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time. My current term in the Senate will be my last.
In 2023, McConnell became the longest-serving Senate party leader in history. He's an Alabama native and started his life in Kentucky after attending the University of Louisville. McConnell was elected into the U.S. Senate in 1984.
Campus safety is a top priority for the Ball State Police Department, but they do much more. Ride along with NewsLink Indiana's Aiden Murray to see what the officers do for students.
To protect and serve. That is the motto for police officers everywhere, and Ball State's University Police Department is no exception. But the UPD works to take their duties further, building connections with students and trust in the community. Officers like Lieutenant Benjamin Wright want to show how the UPD do more than just protect campus.
So for me, I usually work from 2:30 to 10:30. Usually when I come in, a lot of my duties are administrative as I am a supervisor for the entire shift. Once I get everything squared away with that, I go out and patrol. I spend probably 5 of my 8 hours on the road, at least 5 hours, depending on what needs to be completed.
The department focuses heavily on something called community policing. Here, they work towards building a strong connection with students and employees of Ball State, making sure they feel trusted and safe. Some aspects of their policing involve programs like Lunch with a Cop or just attending campus events to better connect with the community.
Throughout the day, we also have opportunities to do like foot patrols throughout the different buildings across campus. So usually I spend 30 to 45 minutes of my day trying to go through an area like the atrium, for example, or the student center, or over at the arena where the rec center is. I walk through, just wave at people if they see me, just to show that I'm trying to be friendly.
While community is a core value of their policing, the UPD also deal with disturbances and crime on campus and parts of Muncie. Many situations they're called to stem from mental health problems. Lieutenant Wright said that it's unfortunate people deal with those problems, and their officers try to help as much as they can in those situations.
Trying to help issues on scenes, even though it may be off campus, we try to just continue that excellent service we offer here on campus, getting to know people if possible, trying to complete the call to the best of our ability. That way there's no issues, while we're on scene. I think that continues to allow us to get to know people in the community.
The University Police Department aims for their work in the community to build trust with students and improve their perception of law enforcement, creating a safer and stronger community. In Muncie, Aiden Murray, NewsLink Indiana.
Ball State Police offer many programs and services to help students, which can be found on the Ball State website by searching University Police. And it was great to see what UPD does on a day-to-day basis.
I really appreciate Aiden going out and doing all that. I never really truly got to see what all they do.
Yes.
But I really appreciate all the work they do.
Yes, it was great to see. And now let's take it over to weather with Rachel.
Thank you so much, you guys. Taking a look at our current temperatures, we see it is in the low teens, low 20s throughout most of the portions of the state. We see 14 degrees in central Indiana, actually warmer, 26 degrees in northern Indiana, but 13 degrees down south. Very unusual. And up next, we are going to be tracking negative wind chills, lack of precipitation, warmth, weather returning for forecasts upcoming.
Coming up after the break, a federal judge is maintaining her pause on a Trump administration order. Find out just what that entails.
And the IRS is expected to fire thousands of workers today. Learn who those employees may be.
Hey, boss. Okay?
I said I'm fine.
With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
Hey there, Hoosiers. Are you ready to give your child a head start on their future? Indiana 529 savings plans are a simple way to save for their education. Plus, there are some great tax benefits. The best part? It's not just for college. Indiana 529 can be used for tech schools, trade programs, apprenticeships, and more. Start with just $10 a month at myindiana529.com to help them reach their dreams.
I've always loved space and football. Growing up, some people told me I had to choose. But here's the deal. You can be great at more than one thing. And getting involved in STEM opens up your world to a universe of opportunities in life.
This is my time.
Get inspired and get involved today. There are STEM programs and science centers available in your community, so be sure to check out spaceforall.us to learn more and get started.
This is my time. There ain't no doubt in my mind.
Find your place in space.
This is my time.
Space for all.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Welcome back. A federal judge is keeping her short-term pause on the Trump administration's order to freeze all federal grants and loans.
During a hearing today, U.S. District Judge Lauren Alacam said the pause is in place while she considers a more lasting block.
This case was brought by a group of nonprofits last month, just before the order took effect. An attorney for the plaintiffs argued the restraining order is working because funds have been freed up, but says the court still needs to intervene. The Trump administration's order has caused confusion and worry among states, charities, and other entities about critical funding. The judge said she will rule on the motion for a preliminary injunction soon. The Internal Revenue Service is expected to fire about 6,000 workers today. That's according to a source familiar with the agency's plan. The source said the government workers who will lose their jobs were more recently hired by the Biden administration and are still on probationary status. The IRS workers will be let go are described as largely auditors and support workers involved in compliance work. The firings come less than 2 months before the April 15th deadline for the Americans to file their taxes with the IRS.
Up next, warmer weather conditions after the break.
People want to define Gen Z, but that's our job.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital. I put out a forest fire. I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time. While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 Americans are sick of the divisions in our country? But there's one small step we can take to remember that we're still connected. All over America, strangers with different political views are coming together to talk about their lives, not politics, and discovering they actually have a lot in common. Because even if we don't see eye to eye, we can still talk, heart to heart. So let's talk, for a change. Learn more at takeonesmallstep.org.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Welcome back. Do you ever wonder what goes into providing a sustainable environment for the plants in the winter?
Sparky's Corner Greenhouse has the answer to all your questions. NewsLink Indiana's Stephanie Weaver stepped inside to learn more.
Taking care of plants at Sparky's Corner Greenhouse is a 365-day job. It takes more than water and sunlight to allow plant life to thrive in these harsh winter months. From soaking seeds to soften the shells, to transplanting plants, Each day is comprised of something different. The business is made up of 3 man-made greenhouses, outdoor flower beds, and a new greenhouse frame.
The big greenhouse is going to be where we're going to be growing everything in the big greenhouse because it will have a higher ceiling with higher light, better light heating levels, those kind of things.
Each of the 3 greenhouses are not only different in temperature, but also in moisture levels. The different plant species located there are unique and need taken care of differently.
A lot of it is just temperature, a light temperature in the wintertime versus the summertime because you're reflecting with less light.
Even while business is slower in the winter, the employees are just as busy putting in work to prepare for the spring. In Muncie, Stephanie Weaver, NewsLink, Indiana.
If you're interested in getting some plants to freshen up your life, message Sparky's Corner Greenhouse on Facebook or Instagram.
You know, really seeing all of that greenery that was in that greenhouse, it just reminded me of all the green that we used to have on campus. And with the snow coming in, it's taken all that out, and it's really sad to see. So maybe Rachel will have an update on weather.
Low teens, 20s. It's actually colder down south, 13 degrees in Evansville, 14 degrees in central Indiana, but 26 in South Bend. Very interesting. And for today's almanac, today's high was 20 degrees, which is just 20 degrees cooler than our average temperature of 41 degrees, but both of those temperatures come nowhere near our record high of 77 back in 2018. And for tonight, we see cloudy skies with a bit of scattered flurries, 9 degrees as our low, winds in the northwest direction of 15 miles per hour with gusts up to 20 miles per hour, but our wind chill index will be -8 degrees, making it a lot cooler than 9 degrees how it feels. And for our next 12 hours, we see those temperatures continue to decrease, 18 degrees into late tonight, and then 17 and 16 into tomorrow, or early tomorrow. And for speaking of tomorrow, as you go out at 8 a.m., it's going to be cloudy, 9 degrees as our low temperature, winds calm, west direction of 5 miles per hour, but as you hit lunchtime, afternoon, temperatures will increase to 22 degrees, still a bit cloudy, winds still remaining calm, but as we hit 5 p.m., we see that sun sort of start to peek its head out with a high of 26 degrees, winds moving up to in the west direction of 15 miles per hour for that evening time. And for our 5-day temperature trend, we are actually going to see an increase in temperature starting out on Friday with our lowest temperature of 27 degrees, bumping it up to 38 degrees on Sunday, and then those twin temperatures on Monday and Tuesday of 47 degrees, averaging our high to 42 degrees. And taking a look at our 6 to 10 day outlook, we see out west above average temperatures and also above average temperatures in those Dakota areas, but we see that those temperatures, those warmer temperatures, are going to move into our system during the weekend into next week. And looking at our 7-day forecast, we see the sun really start to peek its head out into the weekend into next week. 38 degrees on Sunday, 47 degrees on Monday and Tuesday, those twin temperatures, but we see our highest temperature of 51 degrees on Wednesday, 43 degrees as our high on Thursday with a 40% chance of showers. And it is going to be a lot warmer. We are going to see warmer temperatures heading into the weekend and into next week. What do you guys think of that?
Honestly, I am really excited to see those warm weather starting to pop out, especially with it coming, up to March. I'm really excited to see that. How are you feeling about it?
I'm so happy. I'm so ready not to dread going to class. I'll still dread it, just for other reasons.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely not miss, bundling up, always having my little parka on me, and wearing 3 layers on it. I'm just excited for that.
I agree.
So yeah, all right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for weather. There's a lot more to get on NewsLink Indiana. Jaden Collins has a preview of sports.
Thanks, Peyton and Ava. Delta girls basketball soars to new heights while an NBA superstar is sidelined for the season. All this and more next in sports.
Be
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Students who can read by the end of 3rd grade are 35% more likely to graduate. I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education, here to tell you how reading 30 minutes per day can improve the trajectory of a child's life. Whether you're reading with your child or they are reading independently, this is one of the most important things you can do to help them succeed. So this school year, please encourage your child to continue reading. It's a small habit that makes a big difference.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
At night, NewsLink Indiana brings you the news before you go to bed.
But Friday mornings, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, bringing you up to speed on the day's top stories.
And giving you up-to-the-minute conditions from the Ball State Weather Center.
And of course, lots of fun.
I gave mine personality. Look, it's got eyebrows.
Ooh. My lucky glove didn't even work.
But I also am excited for those fall temperatures.
Start your Friday mornings with Cardinal Weather, live on the Cardinal Weather Facebook page.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Jaden Collins with sports. Men's and women's basketball will both be in Worthen Arena this Saturday for a Ball State doubleheader. Following their loss last night to Toledo Rockets, the women will get the afternoon started with a noon tip-off against Kent State in the Think Pink game. After the women wrap up their game against the Golden Flashes, the men will then take the court for a 2:30 tip to face the Buffalo Bulls as they look to get back to 500 in conference play. To keep it on the court, Delta girls basketball is history walking after their first regional championship, but looks ahead to semi-state. NewsLink Indiana's Max Robson heads to Delta for more.
History in the making. For the first time ever, Delta girls basketball has a regional championship under their belt. For many squads, making history would be a cause for celebration. But for this Eagle squad, history was expected to be made.
I told my girls at the beginning of the season that my expectation was to win sectional and regional because I knew our capabilities. So I knew I could push them outside their comfort zone and get them to do more than they thought they could do. And so that was actually on my beginning of the season goals that I gave to them. So it was actually an expectation of mine. So I told them, I said, if we could win one tough game, 2 tough games in semi-state, that'd be great.
I knew that it was going to be a great year just from the way we hit it off at the beginning of the season and preseason, so I knew something was going to be in store for us.
But if this historic team wants to keep their run alive, one thing has to change.
Our mentality has to change. It's kind of like what I said earlier about the dog mentality, about the perseverance if things aren't going our way, because you don't know how side it will go. So at the end of the day, we have to be able to fight and be able to manage and stay strong throughout the entire time and have that fight the entire time.
And that dog mentality starts at the top, with the Eagle soaring above the rest, Jillian Barr.
Just really my coach is telling me that I am the best and that making goals as an individual. I knew I was going to be leading all categories, especially since I had a great freshman year. So just stepping up for my team, just knowing that I can fill that role for all my teammates.
And while averaging 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists with 2 blocks and 4 steals a game, Jillian has proven to be the best on the court night in and night out. But come Saturday, her stats go back to zeros across the board, and she has to prove it once again in semi-state against the Norwell Knights at 10 a.m. In Muncie, Max Robson, NewsLink, Indiana.
Keeping it on the hardwood, 2023 first overall pick Victor Wembanyama will miss the rest of the NBA season, the San Antonio Spurs announced today. After returning from the All-Star break, tests revealed a blood clot in Wembanyama's right shoulder. Treatment for such injuries includes a blood-thinning medication, which stops the 7'3" center from competing in contact sports such as basketball. The Spurs currently sit outside the playoffs at 23-29 and seem like they were going all in after trading for De'Aaron Fox. However, without Wembanyama, their chances of making the playoffs have dropped significantly. Well, guys, boys-girls doubleheader on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Both seasons winding down, which reminds us we're right around the corner from March Madness.
Yeah, that's right. I know March Madness is a big thing for everyone, especially you guys. So I don't know, how do you feel about it?
Really, all I've had with March Madness is little activities in class, but not so much with basketball.
I don't know. Maybe I'll make a bracket. I don't know. Maybe.
I'll probably make about 20. Let's be honest.
All right. Well, thank you, Jaden. Coming up, a chocolate a day does not keep the doctor away. See how one possum learned that the hard way.
And we have one final look at your weather. Stay with us.
Yarr! All I wanted was my treasure, and I wound up with a lawsuit from my neighbors. And a belly full of regret.
Thanks, Salty Pete. What a powerful dig story. Okay, great class, everybody. Before we go, let's stand and say the safe digging pledge. Shovels don't know right from wrong, but I do. And I'll always contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before digging. It's the only way to dig.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Have you ever had such a good meal that made you feel like you overate or feel sick?
That's what happened to a Nebraska possum recently when it ate an entire chocolate cake. Its ensuing sickness and immobility became a viral, caught-on-camera moment that made the animal an internet star and earned it the name Cake Bandit. Here's the good news. The Cake Bandit is now recovering, but is being treated for an underlying condition of lead toxicity. As the Cake Bandit continues her recovery, she is still a little cranky about the zero chocolate policy.
Now, this possum ate a whole Costco chocolate cake.
A whole one.
And honestly, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed by that. Like, I don't know how you could do that, but that is truly impressive. And now let's take it over to Rachel with your final weather.
Taking a look at our 7-day forecast again, we see warmer temperatures again, sunny weather coming again, partly cloudy, 38 on Sunday, 47 Monday and Tuesday, and 51 Wednesday for our highest temperature. And I don't know about you guys, this is pretty good pre-spring break weather.
I would have to agree. I think it is too. All right, well, thank you so much for weather, Rachel. Yeah. That's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to tune in tomorrow morning at 8 for our sister show, Waking Up with Cardinal Weather.
And for news anytime, anywhere, just go to ballstatedaily.com. Have a great night and stay safe.